Tonight, our comments will revolve around the proposed amendment of the Liquor Code regarding cocktails to go. I'm going to read a portion of an investigative summary report from the Illinois Liquor Control Commission. This report that you have in front of you stems from a complaint in 2022 involving Mayor Purcell distributing alcohol or cocktails to individuals at Hometown Days Festival. This portion of the report comes from the investigator speaking to Mayor Purcell. I received a call from Mayor Purcell. I identified myself and informed him I was handling a complaint investigation filed with the ILCC against him. Mayor Purcell immediately thought the complaint stemmed from the previous complaint involving the drag queens. I informed him this was a different complaint. Mayor Purcell asked what the nature of this complaint was. I informed him it had to do with Yorkville Hometown Days Festival and him possibly handing out free alcohol. Mayor Purcell stated he was personally present at the festival. I asked Mayor Purcell if he personally had a tent set up at the festival. Mayor Purcell stated he had a tent set up for his business, Ace Hardware, which he owns. I asked Mayor Purcell if he was handing out free alcohol. Mayor Purcell stated he did give away beer and maybe a few cocktails, vodka, to a few friends who came to visit him at his tent, but he had no idea of how many friends he provided alcohol to. I asked Mayor Purcell where the alcohol he gave away came from. He stated it was alcohol personally purchased by him and he was not selling any alcohol. I asked Mayor Purcell in what capacity was he giving alcohol away to friends. Mayor Purcell asked what I meant by capacity. I asked him if he was acting as mayor of Yorkville, the owner of Ace Hardware, or just a private citizen. Mayor Purcell said he never indicated any of the alcohol he gave to his friends was from the city of Yorkville or from him as mayor. He said once a person is elected mayor, it's hard for people not to recognize him as mayor. But again, he never indicated he was giving away alcohol as the mayor. Mayor Purcell stated alcohol is not restricted to certain designated areas of the festival. Individuals can purchase alcohol at the city tent, which the City of Yorkville had a special use permit for issued by the ILCC, and carry it anywhere on the grounds. Mayor Purcell stated anyone could have purchased alcohol at the city tent and came to visit him at his tent. I thank Mayor Purcell for his time. This is from the conclusion portion of this report. On September 3rd, 2022, Mayor John Purcell handed out free plastic cups of an alcoholic beverage to an undetermined number of citizens who were attending Hometown Days Festival. There is no evidence to support Mayor Purcell gave away free alcohol under the special use permit 4A0110309, issued to the United City of Yorkville by the Illinois Liquor Control Commission. There is evidence, self-admission from Mayor Purcell. He did give away free alcohol, which was personally bought by himself to attendees of the festival. Complaint is founded in that the allegation is true. The mayor handed out free alcohol. However, due to that he was acting as a private citizen and not as a licensed or elected official, no violations were identified.
Mike read you an ILCC report from 2022. I wanted to show you a video from 2023 of a similar incident at Hometown Days. It was footage of Mayor Purcell pouring and distributing Smirnoff vodka from a tent at the fair, but Bart said that wouldn't be possible at this time. I'm bringing this up now because it has been proposed that Yorkville expand the letter of its liquor code to include the sale of to-go cocktails. I'm not necessarily against expanding liquor service, but how is it reasonable to think that we should continue to allow expanded alcohol service in Yorkville when we have a mayor who won't obey or enforce law? How is it reasonable to think that we should continue to allow expanded alcohol service in Yorkville when our own police force turns a blind eye to the mayor's violations of the liquor codes? How is it reasonable to think that we should continue to allow expanded alcohol service in Yorkville when we have a liquor control commissioner with a personal liquor control problem? This expanded code combines alcohol and driving, and it needs to be strictly regulated for the safety of the community. We're in no position to provide that kind of oversight under this current administration. We saw the same kind of lawlessness with regard to the drag shows in the summer of 2021 to 2023. Exposure of buttocks in an establishment that serves alcohol is a clear liquor control violation, but Purcell consistently denied any violation. He told the police to stand down, forcing them to choose between losing their jobs or violating the oath that they took before God to uphold the U.S. and Illinois constitutions and the city ordinances. Purcell also outright lied in writing to the ILCC about the obscene content of the drag shows. In this video that I wanted to show you, John Purcell, who is the mayor and liquor control commissioner, sits with the Kendall County coroner, joined briefly by the director of parks and recreation and several children, as he's pouring, heavily, Smirnoff vodka into multiple red Solo cups. A woman in the background chants, "Pour, pour, 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 pour." Anyone familiar with the layout of the park will know that this unlicensed alcohol service occurred in a tent that was within 20 feet of multiple police officers standing at the entrance of the festival. At this point, to require anyone to uphold any Yorkville ordinance would be complete hypocrisy. Not only is it inappropriate to continue to expand liquor service in Yorkville, it's inappropriate to expect John to be able to regulate any of the Yorkville liquor codes. And the police need to start thinking about who they are more afraid of, the out-of-control liquor control commissioner or the God to which they swore their oath. In 2022, as Mike read, a complaint was filed against Purcell with the ILCC for this same behavior. The behavior was confirmed and the complaint was founded by Purcell's own admission. But the ILCC freed themselves from finding any violations with regard to the complaint because the complaint referenced the city's specific special use permit number. By coaching Purcell to claim that he wasn't identifying as a city representative during the time in which he was distributing the alcohol, the ILCC could absolve themselves of any liability with regard to enforcement. He was just John Purcell, not the mayor or the liquor control commissioner. It's kind of like a temporary insanity plea, where someone claims to lack responsibility due to their transient mental state. But John was claiming a transient physical state. But if Mayor Purcell was just an Ace Hardware vendor distributing unsealed alcohol at the city event, why wasn't he stopped? At any rate, once hairs were allowed to be split, jurisdiction for controlling vendors who distribute unsealed alcohol without a liquor license fell back onto the Yorkville police, who consistently bow to the whims of the tyrant who signs their paychecks. The ILCC report doesn't exonerate Purcell. It simply passes the buck onto some other governmental organization where it will rest quietly between the cracks until somebody says enough is enough. I'm actually not here to force any of you into anything. I don't have the power or desire to do so under this current administration. But I know someone who does. It's time for anyone who has been able to keep their heart pure and their hands clean to stand up and say enough is enough. The day of reckoning is upon us. We just saw the release of the Epstein court documents, which explained that the world has been controlled by a global pedophilic blackmail ring. It's not just government. It's well-respected actors and entertainers, news anchors, bankers and entrepreneurs, pastors, educators and scholars. They were all invited to various private places throughout the world and offered children. When they accepted, what followed was secretly videotaped. Once they got their hands dirty, they became slaves to the one doing the blackmailing. In this instance, unfortunately, their overlords were the satanic cabal. Now the cabal rules, through blackmail, over the media, over arts and entertainment, over world finance, over man-made religion, over education, government, and now even the family. It's the same system that is controlling life here in Yorkville. It's just at a lower level. You can't hold others accountable for the things in which you also partake. You can't require someone else to keep a law that you won't uphold yourself. So Yorkville continually lowers its standards and descends into depravity with all of its citizens in tow. We somehow think that convincing everyone to join us on the trip will justify us. As long as nobody rocks the boat, we think there's a chance we'll get away with it. Well, we aren't justified, and we won't get away with it. The boat is being rocked. Corrupt government is being exposed at every level, and corrupt politicians are being removed, just like God said would happen. We've been together at these meetings for a while now. You can't say you weren't warned. It's time for anyone who has been able to keep their heart pure and their hands cleaned to stand up and say, enough is enough. I know there are a few of you here. We don't need numbers. We just need a few people with a passion for truth and righteousness to take a stand and lead the people of Yorkville out from under this lawless regime.
Your shit's scared.
Did you, well, you probably knew, because he was a representative, Bob Pritchard. He came after me. Oh, yeah, he was Republican. He was a representative for Illinois. Yeah, Bob Pritchard, he served for many years. From Hinkley. He was a state representative.